Hey there, I hope you're doing well. My name is Arya and today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy Reddit stories, consider liking, subscribing, and maybe hitting that notification bell too. Let's get started with today's first story. Much love, everyone. Today's first story comes from my brother ruined my life now he's begging for forgiveness. I 28 female hate, my brother 30. He was always the golden child. I was an UPS baby and they never wanted a girl plus. I was a fussy baby compared to him, so I annoyed my mother. He hated me too and kept telling lies about me to my parents. If he stole something he'd blame me and they believed him. He sabotaged all of my relationships, bullied me. He forced my friends against me. My parents always took his side. I left home for college. I managed to get a scholarship as soon as possible. He stayed in my hometown, renting a place near my parents paid for by them. Of course, they stopped contacting me. A family group chat was always about my brother and his achievements and never sent me money. I live in another state now married. My family was invited but didn't bother showing up for my wedding, and with the second baby on the way my husband's family is great. So that's helping me a lot. My parents are very traditional male head of the family tradition. All this crap, so my brother coming out shocked them. They absolutely demand blood-related descendants to carry on the family name. I should mention that my kids and I all have my husband's surname. Adoption is not an option. They accept only proper marriage, so out of the blue, my brother contacted me. Apparently, my parents will disown him. He lives off. Their money has never worked unless he fixes the relationship with me, so they can lay claim to my children since he is the cause. I drifted away from my family. He isn't the sole cause. I blame my parents. He actually flew to my state, cried a lot and blamed all the bullying on his stress from being in the closet, yada yada. I told him to buzz off. My family is dead to me, and I don't care about him. He's now saying how I'm petty, willing to ruin an adult's life over childhood slights. Also, he says I'm phobic, etc., because he's gay. But I refuse to be back in contact with my parents as a backup source of blood-related grandbabies now that their golden child has failed them. So am I the idiot for not forgiving my brother and forcing parents to disown him? Edit. My parents also want my future baby. I'm pregnant to carry the family surname. You're not forcing anyone to do anything. You're leaving them to the consequences of their behavior and choices, and your brother's orientation is irrelevant to your side of the story. Not the idiot. Your parents have serious problems, that's not your problem. If anything, you can just recommend him to see a therapist because he needs one. Queer here. You are not the idiot. Your brother is an idiot in so many ways, but his phobia claim is one. I want to highlight, yes, if you told him to buzz off because he's gay, that would make you an idiot. That's not why you said it, though. You told him to buzz off because he treated you terribly and didn't see any reason to be in your life until he needed something. That's something being you and your family having contact with your wildly toxic parents. Frankly, I don't care if it really was just the stress of being closeted that had him acting that way. Which I don't buy at all. That doesn't justify anything. If he calls you names for not accepting his non-apology, again laugh in his face as you shut the door on it. You don't owe him nor your parents a darned thing. Do what you need to make sure they stay the heck away and enjoy the beautiful family you made away from them. I agree. Opie cut him and the parents out of her life way before he came out. He randomly showed up and said, "Hey, forgive the family and hand over your kids, because I'm gay and won't have kids and will be disowned otherwise. Cut all those losers out. You don't need them and their toxicity." She made his bed, becoming overly dependent on his parents, and now he has to lay on it. Considering the dude is 30, being disowned shouldn't be a major problem, as he should be able to stand on his own 2 feet by now. He didn't even come to your wedding, lol. Nothing about their relationship with you has changed, and even though they're now coming to you, it's very obvious that they still only care about themselves. Let the family name die out. People like that aren't worthy of a legacy. I have an infant baby and just started allowing visitors. My best friend came to visit and I texted her suggesting she wear a bra or a thick shirt. She plans to hold my son because he grabs nipples very hard and my friend has his pierced and has told me they're super sensitive. I explained this to her ignoring my messages and came over anyway, nipples poking through her shirt and my baby was staring hands ready. I offered to give her a sweater and she looked at me sideways and suggested I was insulting her breasts and she wasn't covering up. I explained that wasn't the case, but she didn't want to hear me, so I respected her decision and asked if she still wanted to hold the baby. She grabbed my son from me and within 5 minutes he had a death grip on her and she jumped up, screamed in pain and pulled him off of her. I said that's why I suggested a bra. This made her even madder and she said no. You suggested that because you're a misogynist. I was so confused and she left abruptly. She kept telling our mutual friends that I was insulting her breasts and trying to make her wear a bra and cover up, or that I wouldn't welcome her. But that isn't what happened? Am I missing something? I feel like her reaction is uncalled for. Am I the idiot? Edit amid her arguing. She suggested that I should teach my son not to grab nipples, but he's just a baby, not the idea. I had a breastfed baby. No nipples were safe from her vice-like grip before her understanding that only mom made milkman, nipples woman, nipples trans nipples, any human nipples. She could get her hungry little hands on, experienced the purple nurple titty twister from hell. Kids don't see boobs, they see yummy milkmakers. Warning your friend about boob grabs was not insulting, quite the opposite actually, and your baby certainly doesn't know. Yet it's a natural reaction and move for a baby. Your friend needs a reality check. It sounds like she got it and chose to ignore it. Some people just need it to be about them. You did explain why she should be careful to protect herself either. She didn't believe you, or she would rather have her super cool stance and have something to complain about. Why would she ignore your solid advice? Otherwise, maybe invite some of those friends over and show them what happens in that same scenario. They will understand real fast. LOL. She sounds clueless about how babies work. This is hilarious, not the idiocy. I've got the same piercings as your friend and like to dress that way too. Please inform us if you are enthusiastic about this narrative. To indicate that you found the video to be enjoyable, please press A. If not, press B. I am truly motivated by your feedback to collect additional stories that are both meaningful and inspiring. I definitely would have been mad if you didn't warn me about your baby's habits. My love, kids, they will do whatever they want. She's likely embarrassed. Talk to your friends privately and maybe let them know you think she's embarrassed, but you deserve an apology. I doubt you'll be getting one. My wife is 5 months pregnant. As of now, this baby is technically our second because she lost the first one. The problem is that my wife is constantly angry, anxious or moody, not normal hormonal moodiness that arises from pregnancy, but a tad bit extreme version of it. I don't know if it's the subset of our previous pregnancy loss. She sees a therapist, but she continues along her way. I've also spoken to her GYN and she mentions it could be past trauma from loss or outburst due to hormones. However, there's always something she finds fault in after I come back from my 10-hour work shift. The tiredness aside, she would start trivial arguments even about things like me buying the wrong shape of carrots, or if I switched to my TV channel to relax, even though she wasn't watching it in the first place. A few times a month is understandable, but this happening every day is taking a toll on me. She constantly says absent-minded things like quit work or take loans for now and stay with me. And while I would love that, who will pay the bills and who's going to repay the loans? I'm losing sleep and getting more annoyed as the days go by. She also has insomnia and unnecessarily keeps me awake by pestering me about whatever will become with the health of our baby, which makes me scared too, and makes me overthink and be awake for the whole night. I reassure her that everything will be all right, but somehow she just gets even angrier. She also leaves around 60 to 90 missed calls a day while I'm at work, or especially when I'm at meetings. So seeing all this, I realized that she requires constant companionship to guide her through this pregnancy. So I called up her mother and father and gently requested they temporarily look after my wife for the time being. There, both retired and happily agreed to take my wife in. However, when I told my wife, she took it as me absolving myself of responsibility, even though I planned to call her every day and visit her for the weekends. She's calling me an idiot for entrusting her with her parents. Although personally it seems like I'm doing her a favor to combat her loneliness and get guidance from her parents. Am I the idiot here for killing two birds with one stone and having peace of mind and ensuring her needs are taken care of by having her parents take over her care? I'm going to say not the idiot, but 60 to 90 calls a day and the other behaviors you describe are way beyond normal anxiety and into needs intervention. Something is very, very wrong and she needs help that I doubt her parents are qualified to give. I'm not saying that staying with them isn't an option to give you the space and sanity. You need to continue being the sole breadwinner, but it can't be the only response. I agree that her parents aren't qualified to get her 100% of the help she needs, but sometimes just the presence of supportive people nearby can be a positive help when going through an episode like that. She's alone for 10 hours a day when staying with her husband, and that's just not the best environment for her, considering her anxiety, trauma and needs as a pregnant, soon-to-be mom. Not likely she's pregnant. Hormones play a huge part in depression. She needs a doctor. It's not likely going to be a parent's will to do anything positive, especially since she doesn't want to go OP. I talked to her therapist and OBGYN to let them know the extent of her behavior. 60 to 90 calls a day and begging you to quit your job to stay with her, while also picking non-stop fights and keeping you awake. That's not hormones. That's a mental health crisis. Shame on her therapist and gyno for not being more proactive and saying, hey, this could be prepartum depression, pregnancy psychosis, or a trauma response. Here are some options. I think the first step is getting her parents to visit and getting her counselor a little more involved or replaced. This could easily devolve into a serious situation extremely quickly. Maybe another option would be to have her parents stay with you all and tag team with her. I could see more eyes being better than the current situation, or shipping her to her parents. I, 25 female, have been with my boyfriend 30 for over a year. He has a best friend who's always around. This guy is from another country and has no friends. He does have a wife and a kid though. He's been every weekend with this guy for the past month. He invites me, but I'm so tired of him that I don't come. The guy is also an idiot. He constantly makes jokes and talks about my boobs. He's very misogynistic, so I don't like to be around him. I still do sometimes for my boyfriend. He's told him several times. I hate those jokes and I've done it too. Now the problem is we had a few days off and decided to go to my boyfriend's parents' house in the mountains. They're visiting his sister in a different state, so we decided to go, and some of his family members are coming too. I know a couple of them, but people from all places are coming too, and it's my first time meeting them. But his friend is at a place about an hour away from here with his wife and kid. He said he wanted to come over and his wife got mad and said no, so he planned to leave them alone at the beach and come here. I told my boyfriend I didn't want it either, and I wanted for once to be free of his stupid friend and just be us. Well, he still said he was coming. His wife got furious and decided to go back to the city. My boyfriend's family isn't here yet, so I told his wife that I would leave with her when she came to drop him off. Since I came in my boyfriend's car, my boyfriend got extremely mad that I left with her and couldn't stay to meet his family. I said that I was tired of him and his friend and I would reconsider the relationship, because if we get married, he might bring his friend over to our honeymoon, the delivery room, etc. He's been blowing up my phone with messages calling me immature and selfish, and his family was excited to meet me. I'm ignoring him, but I am questioning if maybe I was wrong. Am I the idiot for leaving? Should I go back? Not the idiot. Your boyfriend is allowing this disgusting behavior when he should be telling his friend to cut the crap. He allows his misogynistic friend around you because he shares the same misogynistic views. He's endorsing the treatment directed towards you. Boyfriend also seems to prioritize the idiot over you, and if that hasn't changed, yet it likely won't change at all. Dump both of them, OP. But I never understand how people are surprised when their SO's true colors have been shown so clearly from day one. His best friend is a crap person and a misogynistic pig. That means he is too. He's okay with the pig's behavior enough to be best friends. Unfortunately, he is also a pig. He will continue to prioritize the best friend pig over you. It will only get worse. Have you considered, you may be his beard? He's actively choosing time with his friend over you. The friend actively chooses to ditch his child and wife for your boyfriend. Your boyfriend and his friend are a couple and you and the wife are the cover. Even knowing you would leave, he still chose his friend. He isn't mad you left, he is mad. You threatened his closet existence, yeah. Maybe that's why he's so upset you're leaving? He was finally going to prove to his family. He has a real girlfriend and now she's gone. Opie, you're young. You have plenty of time to find someone who loves you and treats you well. We had some financial setbacks and were in a bad spot. So my husband approached mother-in-law about staying with her to get back on our feet. That was a hard step for me, and I know it was mega generous on her end. Mother-in-law's house is huge. It's like 4 or 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a home gym and an art studio. So I thought we could make it work. My kids have been waking mother-in-law up. I'm doing everything to keep them quiet, but with a baby and a toddler that sometimes feels impossible. A mother-in-law likes to sleep until 9:30, usually closer to 10. At first I felt awful when we woke her up, but lately she's been crying over how sleep-deprived she is despite getting over 8 hours a night. Also, her fake crying is just bad. It doesn't produce tears. Mother-in-law's husband has been getting very concerned about the crying because in general she rarely cries. It's become this routine of him comforting her every morning, while glaring daggers at me. It's affected how he treats me, and he's beginning to get very rude. He's also been bribing mother-in-law with various stuff together to stop crying. I sat down and tried to talk it out with mother-in-law. I said as nicely as possible that she and her husband have a lifestyle that doesn't match up with 99% of people. She's never worked. He doesn't really work, maybe a few days a month, and that I know she always has had the freedom to do whatever she wanted. Still, I have 2 little babies and I'm trying my best. Mother-in-law said that she gets that at the moment, but when she wakes up she's just angry. She admitted that it was worse on me than on her and said it was fine. Well, the next morning, mother-in-law came down clearly angry, but didn't start with the fake tears until her husband got up. He immediately gave me a death stare and began hugging her and comforting her. I finally snapped that this was ridiculous. She's crying about not being able to sleep until 10 as if that's a normal need, and he does need to stop coddling her, because he is the reason she continues to fake cry. Mother-in-law got mad and said, I know she has dry eyes and that's why she doesn't produce tears. She does need eye drops sometimes, but come on. She said how dare I yell at her in her own house, and maybe I'm mad, because my husband wouldn't come for me, but that's my problem. Yeah, you are the idiot, even if she's being ridiculous, which most people would think an adult sleeping till 10 would be heck, even if she is fake crying. It's her house, she's doing you a favor. If her schedule doesn't work for you and your kids, find another place to live. I've had trouble keeping the kids quiet until 9:30 or 10 too. Unfortunately, you lost me when you sat your mother-in-law down to talk about how her habits aren't normal and you have it worse. Try again and this time acknowledge her generosity in letting you stay with them and discuss options for how best to let her sleep in while still being able to care for your babies. Is she being unreasonable? I mean, probably, but it also sounds like she doesn't actually want you living here, but was unwilling just to tell your husband. No, everyone is in a bad position and everyone is handling it poorly. Where's your husband in all of this? What's he doing to run interference between you and his mother? Not the idiot, your mother-in-law is being dramatic and should be more understanding. Why is she just blaming you for the crying and not your husband too? Aren't they both of your kids? You'd think the in-laws would have known what they were getting into when housing a family with young children? Can't she get earplugs or run a box fan or other white noise? Hopefully, you can talk it out in the short term, but you need to get your finances in order and move out ASAP. I'm going to turn this one over to you. What do you make of this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time mean the world to me. So, thank you so much for being part of this. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.